I was asked to talk about attachment, and this is sort of a very, very important part of your freedom. So it's sort of hard to explain because people often misunderstand love for attachment. They think that if I love someone, I need to spend all my time with them and I need to be attached to them and know them like like myself more or less, or this attachment and like always on the phone, always in contact, and also like the attachment of, to my wife, if my wife dies or my husband dies or my brother dies, and a family attachment. This is about, so Krishnamurti talks about the truth to your life and your individual freedom. So he speaks about being a light to yourself, and this is exactly what he means. So if you are light to yourself, like a light is unattached, it's free, it's flowing. It doesn't need anything else. And when we are attached, we are not one, we're not whole. We're like struggling, we're holding on. So people think that it's very rude, or how am I supposed to not be attached to my children? How am I supposed to not be attached to my dog? No, how am I not, I'm attached to my boyfriend or girlfriend, and this is, me being attached to them is my show of love. And it's not at all, because love has nothing to do with attachment. And in fact, this is sort of the problem I have with monogamous relationships, because they're so attached and both individuals are not free to explore their own life. Together they explore their life, but as individuals they don't stand by themselves. So they aren't alike. Like usually there's one more attached to the other, or it's always like this covenant bond, like it's this connection that actually limits your life. It sounds like this is harsh, but from the perspective of freedom, total freedom, freedom of your mind, attachment is limiting you. So it's an ego attachment. So if my girlfriend breaks up with me, the ego would be hurt. The ego needs to be connected to this other person. So this attachment, this bond, this loss of connection, this then makes us feel lonely, because we feel like there needs to be the second part. Where's the second part? And on my video on loneliness, I talked about this as well. It is about you becoming one whole. So as soon as you are one and whole, it's not possible to be lonely. It doesn't exist. It's just an idea that we're supposed to be a couple, we're supposed to be a pair. And whatever idea you have of your partner or wife, husband, whatever, we are attached to that idea. We don't actually, if I'm just talking about like dropping the attachment, it all sounds like you're going like, piss off world, I don't need anyone, I'm gonna go out and live my life all by myself. But it's not actually like that at all, because you need to be able to free yourself from your attachments and set yourself free. And as soon as you set yourself free, there's no more ego, so there's nothing hindering, limiting you in your life. So all you feel is this phenomenal joy and love. So as soon as you set yourself completely free, that only then do you actually have the full capability to love your partner completely and totally for who they actually are. Before, we always love the idea of them, and that's actually violent to your partner. So you see life from a slightly different perspective, and people find it confusing because it sort of sounds not very loving to break the attachment. but it's like the ultimate love. Like it's the most loving thing that you can do to your, like for yourself, first of all. Like to become independent, to become whole, to become one. It's the kindest thing you can ever do to yourself. And if you are in a relationship and that entails completely abandoning any idea of needing this person, being attached to this person, needing this person to get to the next point, when you can actually free yourself from any idea of them, they might turn out to be, no, I'm just joking. No, as soon as they might turn out to be not very nice, but I'm just joking, because actually you love everybody for who they actually are. So if they're assholes, like obviously if they're toxic or if they're violent towards you, you distance yourself very easily. But like it's not until you can actually completely free your mind from all ideas and beliefs that you can completely love this person selflessly, unconditionally, like hard. Like you really love, like it's so easy to love someone then. There's no ego, there's no, so sorry, there's no ego, you don't need anything back. So if I'm gonna give you all this love, then I'm never waiting for the reply or never waiting for whatever's supposed to come back. I just, whatever, like like if it doesn't get reciprocated, like it doesn't make any difference, because there's that much love here and nobody cares. There's no more ego to care. So you, like I keep having this discussion with my flatmate, because it's really easy for me to love people, and even though I've already got a pretty strong suspicion that they're gonna screw me over, I completely don't care. I'm gonna love them as hard and as fast as I can until the bubble breaks. Like, usually I really know, like, there's a few things that like, where I know this is a clear sign, I know this is gonna crash, but I'm gonna have fun until it crashes. Because I could probably, maybe I need to learn to avoid them earlier, but like nothing happens. Like I don't, like they try to hurt me and I just go like, oh, that's pretty like petty. Like I don't care. Like obviously it's not nice when you don't get treated nicely, or not, you know, when you're being used and stuff, like, but valuable lesson as well. So like I can always see the positive in everything. So it's just interesting, just living life and seeing what happens, you know. It's not stressful, it's not scary, there's nothing, like there's no drama going to come from it from my side. Like it's just fun until it's not fun, and then you move forward. And there's no sense of I shouldn't have loved this person, because at the moment it was perfectly reasonable. So if they then prove otherwise, like, doesn't really matter. Unfortunately, I usually don't really stop loving them. So like, it's like I keep my distance, but I, like, the love is always there. Like you can't, like once I love the person, usually it's rather unconditional, which I should not tell too many people in my life. Enough people like screw me over anyway, so. But like that's the whole point. Like, why would I want a life that's like just smooth sailing? Like, I'm not gonna learn anything from easy. I like to go out there and try to fall on, no, not try, I don't try to fall on my face, but I like to try things where I might fall on my face, and if I fall on my face, I don't care, because I'm learning more. Like if it's easy, I'm not gonna learn. Yeah, this is like the most important or best thing about the change in my life. That, like, I've had some pretty hard step backs and like some pretty heavy blows, and like I just gotta, okay, so this happened now, and then like I sort of need to maybe think about it for, like, just grasp, think about it as in, how can this be possible? Did this person just do this and this and this? And like, it's like when you see a car crash and then you just go like, did that car just do this and this? You're just sort of grasping what you just saw and if this is reality. So that's the thinking, or it's very different. Like, it's very short, and then I just go like, okay, what does this mean for your life? And then, so obviously, like, there's a change. So the change implies a change in my life. So, for instance, getting kicked out of your flat implies change in your life. So you just have to go like, okay, so what does this mean for me in my life if this has happened? And then I go, well, okay, it's not that bad in the end, blah, 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 blah. And then I find the positive. So, like, there's no ego to be hurt, which is very, very convenient, especially if you're sick of me, especially if you have a family like me. No, but like, I used to think about things all night and be tormented. The worst thing was, the thing that tormented me the most was when someone screwed me over. So normally I was sort of like, didn't deserve it. And then those situations upset me by far the most. And I would drag them on for weeks and weeks and weeks. So, like, I would bring up things from years ago. It's like, oh, it's just like when this and this happened. And I was always trying to grasp how people can be so unfair towards me. So I thought that me is relevant. But me is actually not relevant, because usually people do things because they're greedy or jealous. Like, it's not really got that much to do with you normally. Anyway, what I want to say is the being able to move on from any situation straight away. That's the key thing. That's so easy. It makes life so easy. So, it's not that big of a deal. Nothing is that big of a deal as long as you're alive. Like, it sort of all boils down to it. So Krishnamurti says, die to yourself every day, and that's what it's like. So, not only he says it more in the sense of every day, everything that's been accumulated needs to die. So it needs to be dealt with, over, and then you go to sleep, and then you wake up to a new day. That's sort of the idea. So you need to completely leave everything that happened in that day, leave it behind, and it's over, it's done, it doesn't exist anymore. What I sort of have a little bit of a twist on that, because like I sort of say I live my life like I live every single day like I'm going to die tomorrow. So it's definitely sort of a different way of seeing it. It sort of has the same sort of effect. So I live my life every day as if I'm going to die tomorrow. So this entails things like doing things that I enjoy for fun, but also important things like telling people that I love them, valuing your friends, and like, small little things like that. I do this every time. Like, I go, I might be dead tomorrow. I need to share with my friend how much I enjoyed the time I spent with them. And it's such a small, tiny little thing, but every day I have like this moment of going, I'm grateful for you being my friend. And like, it's said there, if I die, you know how I feel about our friendship. And it's phenomenal. You know, I know like it comes off a little bit like I'm sucking up to people sometimes or something, like people don't quite understand why I'm doing it, but like every day I wake up and I'm happy to be alive, obviously, but every day I do this afresh, and it's been a few years now and I still love doing it. So yeah, it's so much easier. Your life is that much easier. And the attachment, because we also have the attachment to our ego, so we think we need this and this and this, and so the attachment is the most important part to understand. For me it was sort of easy because everybody that I had in my life sort of abandoned me, and so I wasn't attached to anybody at that time, so I didn't have any romantic relationship, or my family sort of, you know, weren't they weren't on my side, so there was no attachment to them anymore. And one like little practical tidbit, one thing that I found interesting about the attachments is that while there was no like actual process of thinking of somebody that I'd no longer want to be attached to, I went out into my life and living the present moment. I then would notice that something happens, and then I'd realize, oh, I'm a little bit attached to this person. And then, so I'd notice by my response, oh, you're a bit attached, this is a bit overreacting, or why are you doing this, or why would you feel this way? And as soon as I noticed that, I realized I'm attached to the person. And then I would free myself from the attachment. So I would just go like, I don't need this person. And this may be nice, but like, you know, I'm all one, I stand alone. There's no need to be dependent on someone. And it's sort of hard. Like a lot of people find it a little bit difficult to deal with, that I'm so independent and I want to do my own route. But the love that they get, like it's maybe not that obvious, but the way that I can love them because I'm like that, because I'm free, whole, you know, it's, I don't know how much they really notice. I'm sure it doesn't really matter. Like, it's so much fun to be able to love someone wholeheartedly and not be afraid that they're going to do anything to you, or like, it doesn't make any difference. It's just for the moment, I'm going to love you as hard as I can. And it's a way, like, it's got so much more depth than the shallow attachment that we think is love, or many of us think is love. So, yeah, thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. One love.